Well, Michael, a good atmosphere on the training pitch this week. I suppose it states the obvious, but double over Leicester and a much fresher feel in the legs, I would have thought.
Yeah, listen, the boys are in a good place. I think training's been really good this week. It's been good for some time, really. The spirit's really good in the group. There's a natural lift, I think, with a result like that and the circumstances. So the boys definitely earned that one.
And it's interesting to see from the table that it's a good time to sort of start getting the results again, because the gap between sixth and the rest is just starting to grow a little bit.
Definitely never a bad time to get results anyway. So yeah, listen, the situation is what it is. We know where we are. There's a lot of games to play, a lot of points to play for, and we can tidy up on a few things. We're doing a lot of good things. We can tidy up on a good few things and hopefully get some good results.
Different type of game, of course, I suppose, Plymouth.
Yes and no. I think they're a good team. They've got some really good attacking threats individually and especially as a front three with the wing backs getting involved and attacking in a lot of numbers. So you can see that from the goals they've scored, the games they've been involved in. At times quite high scoring games. So yes, it's a whole fresh challenge again. But it's about us being as good as we can be as well and adapting to new challenges.
You felt you haven't had the rub of the green lately and results haven't been going your way, and you've also had a lot of injuries. Have you had to sort of turn around and say to the players, look, we can't afford to feel sorry for ourselves? For you fringe players, this is a massive opportunity.
I've not had to say that one bit, to be honest. The boys honestly so good in that way, and the positivity and their attitude has been faultless. So I've not had to say that. I think there's a drive and a motivation between them. You can see that as a group that they're desperate to do well. So it makes my job easier when you've got a group like that, because they look after themselves. There's a few things we need to get better at, of course, and results haven't been good enough in certain games and what have you, but I can't fault the boys' application and attitude and motivation towards games. It's really top draw.
And players coming back into the side like O'Brien making a huge contribution.
Yeah, it was a good game for Lewis. He's had a bit of a rough time really over the last few months, and I just thought it was the perfect game for him to go and show what he can do, and I thought he was fantastic last week.
How much of a relief is it personally for you when a result does go your way and with a good counter-attacking performance?
It's not really for me. I think I just felt it for the players, the reward for them more than anything. Seeing all that effort and as I said, the attitude and the positivity and everything they put into each game, I want to see them rewarded for that, and so that was my biggest feeling. I was pleased for the players and for what they put into the game to then what they got out of it.
And the places that look catchable are 5th and 6th. I mean, I suppose the message for all the teams around those positions now is consistency until the end of the season.
Yes, I've said it for a bit. That's the magic ingredient. We've shown we can play well. We've shown we can win games against arguably the best in the division, but it's putting it together over a period of time, and that's obviously the challenge. We can try and write a whole new chapter between now and the end of the season and see where it takes us.
Mike, I wouldn't call last week a shock win, but it was a win that would make a lot of people sit up and take notice, a kind of wow win. And what can a result like that do for the rest of the season?
I think when you look back at it, probably it'll tell the story. I think at this moment in time, the boys are taking a lift from it, naturally. Definitely not getting carried away, because, really, come Saturday, 3 o'clock, last Saturday's gone. So, but certainly take the boost and the belief in it, and maybe extra little bit of energy and confidence going into the game. But then, like I've just said, consistency is key, and one game doesn't make a season, or 2 games even. I know we've beaten them twice, and that doesn't tell the story of the season. So it's about kind of putting a run of results together. That's always the biggest challenge in this league.
What's the benefit of your players knowing that they can beat the best team in this division? Therefore, if you work it out, they can probably beat any team.
Yeah, but I think honestly the boys have felt that all season. Really, I think we know what we're capable of when we're at our best or close to our best. We know that. A lot of the times we feel like we've performed pretty well, but we've missed little bits and we've missed that edge, and we've ended up throwing points away, or how we see it, throwing points away rather than losing points. We've actually done it a little bit ourselves at times. So there's a lot of good in there, and that's that inner belief and that inner confidence, and the boys have got to take that forward and attack the rest of the season.
There's almost no getting away from the subject of injuries, but you're not alone in the top two divisions of having had a lot of injuries this season. Has anybody got any ideas about why this seems to be happening this year?
It's tough. I can only speak about ours really. I think it's tough for us to always put your finger on it. I think you look at Johnny and Hayden's against Preston, that's 2 tackles, that's 2 knees that were twisted in a tackle at 5 minutes, either side of each other towards the end of the game. That's very difficult to kind of understand. That's just one of those things that happens in football. Sometimes it goes against you, and it certainly has for us. So it's difficult to understand the intensity of the games there. We know that. Is it getting a little bit more intense? Yeah, maybe. Is it over a period of time? Is it players asked to do a certain amount and internationals and this and that? But there's not always a pattern to it. You can kind of get yourself caught in a bit of a web and trying to find the answer. So I suppose the short answer is it's I haven't got it, and we're still striving for it. But when, like I say, with a Hayden or a Johnny type injury, that's just something that in football that's always been there, and it's difficult to accept. But nonetheless, it's unfortunately it's part of the game.
Injuries.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Johnny and Hayden first. How are they? What we told
I actually haven't. We're still investigating and scanning and seeing experts or consultants, if you like, a little bit on that. So no, they've not trained this week, so they'll be out for a period of time. We're just not sure how long yet. That's as far as I can kind of get at the moment.
Emmanuel and Josh, are they new for the weekend?
No, Josh is not. Manu's trained this week. He's only trained for a short time, but he's trained, so he's backing around the group. So that's a big plus to have one back again.
Izzy?
No, Izzy's a little bit further down the line as well, so maybe a week or 2 for Izzy. So Manu's the one at the moment.
Manu's the one. And just in terms of attack, to be fair, you've kind of covered the gap pretty well, really, in different ways. Obviously, Sam's played there a bit, Sammy's played there a bit, but there's kind of no getting away from the fact that having a natural striker in the squad makes a massive difference.
Yes, doesn't it? I think there's different ways to play, and so we all crave goals, we all wanted to score goals when you're a kid playing football. It's the thing you want to do, and it's the thing we all get kind of excited about. But I do feel that we've got ways of doing it, and the boys have shared it around pretty well. Of course, we want more. We think we're capable of creating the opportunities, and we're creating. I thought the boys took the goals ever so well last week, actually, and created enough to maybe score 1 or 2 more if we were being greedy. But so I don't doubt that the boys are capable of scoring goals. Of course, we want our best. When I say best, I mean our kind of first all our options to choose from, and to be able to pick the best ones from that. But I don't doubt the boys that are that, and I'm sure we can keep scoring goals.
Yeah. Just on Manu though, you must have quite a bit of sympathy for the kind of season he's had to have, because clearly, well, for any player, but especially one who's coming to a new club in a new country, you want to hit the ground running, you want to do this, that, and he's just never had a chance to get into any kind of rhythm, has he?
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I thought he started showing really he's top form, if you like, just before he got injured the first time round, and then he came back and felt something else. So it's a bit of a stop-start, but we know what Manu can do, and be a little bit patient with him as well this time round and get him back up to speed, and hopefully he can have a big say as well as the other boys between now and the end of the season, and make that little bit of a difference for us.
And just when you talk about Lewis there, I mean, he's another one who's obviously not had the ideal season that he would have wanted. I mean, when the injury happened and it was clear it was going to be a long-term one, was there thoughts about him going back, or
no.
was it always a case?
No, not at all. No, I think part of for how Lewis is a man, as a person, his character and his attitude, he's thrown himself into being a player here and making it his home, and that wasn't easy after 3 or 4 games of being out. So I can't speak highly enough of him in terms of that side of it, and how hard he's worked, and how much of a part of the group he is and has been even when he was injured, and that's down to him. So it's hopefully he'll get his rewards for that. You know, he played ever so well last week, and you know, be a big player for us in the coming weeks as well. And we know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. It was great to see him back playing at his best last week.
Has there been any thoughts or conversations about beyond the end of the season?
Not this stage. I think we're, you know, we go. Obviously now it's getting towards that stage where I know we've always got plans anyway, but things tend to naturally get firmed up a little bit, and so we'll see. You know, it a little bit, to be honest, with Lewis, is getting him back fit, getting him playing football and enjoying his football and getting him back to his best, and he's on the way to doing that.
And just one on Plymouth. I mean, I know you'll say they've got lots of different threats, and they have, but clearly Whittaker kind of stands out as kind of their main one, arguably one of the best players in the league, to be fair. I mean, where do you stand in terms of tailoring plans for a specific player like that, i.e. changing the way you maybe set up for it, or asking someone to go man for man, whatever? Because some managers are very pro that, some managers are kind of, no, that's not the way I like to operate. Where do you...
Yeah, I think there's always a balance, you know. I think that's part of the judgment. I wouldn't say definitely you can't neglect it, you know. You've got to respect who you're up against, what their threats are, individually or collectively. And we adapted a bit last week for going to Leicester and changed a few things. And I think I've always kind of said it, we're happy to adapt and be flexible in terms of how we set up. The principles kind of don't change within that, but, you know, personnel in different positions. So yeah, that's always the decision. But we certainly know what they can do, what the strengths are, and we got to come up with something to stop it, obviously.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Just from me, Michael, on how's Senny doing? He's obviously been back in the squad the last three. Is he kind of fully fit now?
Yeah, he's back training. He's been back training fully, probably a couple of weeks really. So maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, he's back fit.
Yeah, I mean, in that time where you've still kept Tom in, you've kept your faith in Tom in the role. Is that testament, you know, how you felt he did in that period without Senny?
Yeah, I think that's part of the squad. You know, it's of having players playing well and players doing everything they can to get into the team. I think we've seen that throughout the squad over the course of the season, and I like to see the competition and the boys pushing each other in a healthy way, supporting each other at the same time, because we're all in it together. We all get the same results. So yeah, that's part of it, and you know, it's up to us to make the decision of who plays at what time.
I guess it kind of goes towards that idea of competition and healthy competition, because obviously Senny had that jersey at the start of the season until his injury. Tom came in, did well, and I guess, you know, if it was then Senny's fit, he's back in, that wouldn't potentially send the right message, would it?
I think we've had injuries throughout the squad, players coming in and out. I'm not sure off the top of my head anyone who's kind of played all the time, you know. Everyone at some point is played some games and missed some games. Johnny being the captain's played some games, played a lot of games, missed some games. So, you know, it's not a isolated incident. I think it's part of having a good squad and having players to choose from and different skill sets as well, you know. So the goalkeeper doesn't change that, and, you know, as long as they're training well and pushing each other and being at their best, then it gives us a big choice to make.
We spoke after the last home game about the fact that the home form hadn't been quite where you wanted it to be, but it wasn't something you were overly concerned about, overly looking at. But how important is it in the remainder of the season that you do get the Riverside?
Yeah, of course. Ideally, we're striving for that. You know, it's it gives you a foundation. We don't approach home games to away games much different, to be honest. I think last week was maybe a bit of a one-off, and understandably so, but most of the time it's pretty much the same, whatever game we're playing. But yeah, of course, you know, you're meant to have some sort of an advantage from playing at home. That's what everyone sees, so we've got to try and take advantage of every little bit we can between now and the end of the season, because every little bit matters.
You mentioned you don't change, you know, how you play at home or away. Do you ever sense that some teams potentially come to the Riverside and maybe change the way they play and maybe look to sit in a bit?
Yeah, there's changes being made. I think changes tactically as well, in terms of what teams do. That maybe some teams haven't really shown that they were going to do it. But then there's the other side of it, and we've done the same in certain games, like last week. So that's part of football. You know, you can plan for all you like without expecting a certain way of playing or playing up against, but you've got to be ready to adapt, and teams are going to change. They're going to try and stop you. We're trying to stop the opposition, and that's the cat and mouse part of it, you know. And it's who can change and adapt and evolve, really, for even during the games or during a half of football. And sometimes that's down to the players and seeing it and doing something about it, because it's not always easy to get the messages on. So that's just part of the challenge, you know, of who can come out on top.
Yeah, and obviously you always see, like, your players, particularly in the attack and in possession, to play with that expression and that freedom. And I guess, you know, if teams aren't playing like that, then you need your players to kind of have that about them to break teams like that down.
Yeah, there's always an element of freedom, I think, without getting carried away and saying kind of do what you want, go and play where you want. I think there's a certain there's a framework or a structure that you kind of, each game we try and stick to and work from, and I think there was elements of that last week, really, when the attacking players looked dangerous. I thought it was really big part of our game was the fact that we were compact at times, we defended well as a team at times, but I thought we always had that element of we could score and we looked dangerous, and I was really pleased with that part of the game.